of the margins. And then around week 15, I'll do the clean sweep.
Put it all together?
And then be in a big legal battle with Fox because they say I'm ineligible for the money and I say I'm eligible for it.
I tell you what, the most impressive one was your pick with the Buccaneers because the Falcons coming off that impressive win against the Saints. I'll give you credit for that one.
And I didn't win Terry's money, but I might have won some other yesterday with all those correct picks. It was a good day. It was a fun day of the NFL.
I got to get in all that gambling fun that you have on them. Nope, I guess I won't. Before the games kick off next Sunday, download the Fox Sports Super 6 app, play for free for a chance to win $250,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money. All right, time now for some stories to start your morning. Browns hosting the Dolphins. Baker Mayfield took full advantage of the Dolphins. 24 for 34, 327 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. Cleveland gets the win, 41-24. They've now won 3 in a row to move to 5-6 on the season. Nick, are the Browns still alive?
It's a faint heartbeat, but yeah, they've got to be alive, especially with the game against Pittsburgh coming up next week. My opinion on this hasn't changed. The best thing for the Browns long term is to move on from Freddie Kitchens after this season. The more games they win, the less likely that becomes. But for the players, losing to the Dolphins would have been devastating. Baker played great. Odell was awesome. They dominated this football game.
When you talk about the distractions they had to deal with Myles Garrett and then the allegations coming out late in the season, you have to give Freddie Kitchens some credit because we've seen the Dolphins come out and beat some good football teams. In the last couple of weeks, they have been playing a lot better. I say Cleveland is definitely going to be the 6th seed. I look at their schedule, and to me, it just looks weak. You got Miami, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Arizona. They've already beaten Baltimore and Cincinnati again. That's at least 4 more wins, 9-7 to get you in, I believe, this year in the AFC.
All right, on to the Seahawks and the Eagles. Carson Wentz, 2 picks, 2 lost fumbles. Seahawks win 17-9. Eagles drop to 5-6. And to make matters worse, Wentz injured his throwing hand, though x-rays were negative. Nick, how concerning has Wentz's play been?
Enormously concerning. I understand they've dealt with injuries. I know the offensive line hasn't been great. Receiving corps has been banged up. But Wentz has been dreadful. He's 30th in the league in yards per attempt and outside of the top 20 in completion percentage. If you're not completing a high percentage of your passes, at least have them be a long ways downfield. He's doing neither. And yesterday, if he just kept it to 2 turnovers instead of 4, they might have been able to win this football game. Seattle did not play that well and beat them anyway. So, yeah, very concerning if you're a Philly team.
It's not his fault that his team stinks. When I look at this film breakdown, I see a lot of covered guys with safety help over the top. I think really this is just they finally have to pay due. They've finally been a transactional team, trading people, spending money, moving salary cap money around, giving guarantees. And now they're an older football team, and the league is caught up because they've seen this offense for 3 straight years. So now they got to adjust to the adjustment.
All right, America's Game of the Week. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys taking on Tom Brady and the Patriots in Foxborough. First quarter, no score. Brady to the rookie, N'Keal Harry, his first career touchdown. It was a nice one. Pats take a 7-0 lead. Fourth quarter now, Cowboys down 4, driving Dak to Ezekiel Elliott for the first down. But Dallas is penalized for a questionable tripping call. They actually had 2 tripping calls in this one.
Don't put your hands up. Don't make you look guilty when you do that.
Couple plays later, Dak finds Amari Cooper on the 4th and 11 for the big first down. But hang on, the play is reviewed. The ball clearly hits the ground. And that's a turnover on downs. Pats hold on for the 13-9 win. Here's Jerry Jones after the game.
Significant setback for our team. We needed this win. We needed to win against an opponent like this. We haven't had them. And consequently, we're very aware of that. And so we dig a hole that we've got to really have a challenge as we look at the rest of the schedule. I'm just really frustrated with, I thought we could come up here and really put together a better effort in all 3 phases. We don't have our feet up under us the way that a win here. Taking it under our belt and taking it down the field in the last possession of really when we had some time would have given us. And so we had opportunity here to gel. We had opportunity here to do some things against a really outstanding organization, outstanding team in a rough situation, and we just didn't get there. That's disappointing, and I'm reflecting it. I don't think there's a game that a coaching staff has areas that it couldn't do better in. And I just don't like it that we've got so many as I'm standing here tonight.
A lot said there by Jerry Jones. Nick, you've been banging on this drum all morning. Should the Cowboys move on from Jason Garrett?
Yes, and the more I think about it, I don't think they should wait till this offseason. Now, I don't think they're going to do it.
Really?
But I see no reason. I see no reason not to just fire him now. Chris Richard, who right now is a basically redundant position because he's not the defensive coordinator, but he kind of is the defensive coordinator. He's a guy who people think could be a head coach one day in this league. He can lean on some of the other coaching experience on the staff, make him your interim head coach, and see if it gives this team an injection. Because you know you're moving on from Jason Garrett after this year, and you know the Cowboys, as presently constituted, cannot go at least a round further than they did in last year's postseason, which is what this year was all about. So at this point, you need, one of the reasons you mentioned with Philly, maybe they'll bring in Antonio Brown. Like, the teams, there aren't a lot of cards you can play at this point to make you different than you've been through 12 weeks of an NFL season. Firing your head coach, Mike. And it's a last resort, I get it. And there's not a lot of instances, as I've said before, of interim head coach leads team on playoff run. I understand that. But because of the division that you're in, you still have the playoffs in front of you. I believe Jerry Jones already made his decision. I believe Jerry Jones, Bart, knows he's not renewing Jason Garrett's contract after this season. So what's the argument against firing him right now?
Will you do that before getting rid of the special teams coach?
Well, that's
today.
That's just one bad play by a coach. I mean, I think what Nick is alluding to is just a pattern of just mediocrity. When you look at Jason Garrett, he's been there 10 years. He's only won, he's only won, 3 playoff games out of his 5, but he's only got a team there that we've thought has had one of the best rosters. He's not a guy that's elevating the talent around him. He's a guy that, just kind of stabilized the water. He's not good, not bad. He keep the team about 500, and that's not what you pay him for. So usually when you look at it, like I used to always look at Tampa Bay, and when they got rid of Dungy, they brought a guy with an edge and Gruden, and he got the W, got him over the hump. They need somebody that can get them over the hump, because the fact that they can't beat a team above 500 is alarming to me. The fact that they can't go out and win games, the 50-50 games. We want to anoint Dak and say that, he's a guy that should be the highest paid, quarterback in the league. But look at his resume. This team is all in. And the fact that he's a lame duck coach, the fact that they didn't give him an extension, usually they give a guy at least a 1-year extension. So if he gets fired, he has 1 more year of being able to look for money with pay. Tells you a lot. It tells you everything. And I think in Texas, when you think about Lincoln Riley being there, you think about Matt Rule being there, I think he's looking at somebody that can come and maybe try and get the best out of Dak Prescott, because they're going to lose a lot of elite players. And you look at this offensive line, Tyron Smith is getting older. A lot of this talent on this core is starting to age, and they're going to age themselves right out of their window. This is one of the best coaching jobs in sports. You have an owner that will spend as much money as they are allowed to. You have the best facilities in the world. You are on television more than any other team. I know all NFL teams are on television every week, but you're on national television. Big spot.
More than any other team. You have the biggest fan base. And the organization, when they've prioritized it, you want Jimmy Johnson, a great college coach, get him from the college ranks you can. They brought Bill Parcells out of semi-retirement, brought him in. They settled on Jason Garrett, and they've settled there for a decade. And so I just want to know the argument against moving on from him now. What is it? That they'll underachieve more? That they won't sneak into the playoffs at 9-7? You know Jason Garrett's not back next year.
It could create a spark, though. It could create a spark, to your point, where teams kind of punch above their weight for a couple of weeks because they, and you get new ideas. I just don't know if Richard is the guy that you want to go with. Well,
I guess the other option would be Rod Marinelli.
Right.
My point is, I don't know how much of a spark that brings, but one of those two guys on the defensive side, because you obviously can't go to either guy on the offensive side. Right. Kellen Moore is not. He just got this job. He's not going to be ready to do that. So even if it is Marinelli, because he's been a head coach for, fine. But when you watch yesterday's game, it was so clear that the Cowboys were outcoached in every facet of it. They couldn't tell the kick returner move up 10 yards.
Well, listen, it's not about that, because what happens is when they do the bloop kick, if you move them up, then they'll just kick it behind. The problem was they weren't prepared. They didn't anticipate the situation. The Patriots always do that. They never try and kick the ball through. And first of all, you got to understand, Nick Folk can't kick the ball through the end zone, especially in bad elements.
Not against the wind. But how about the play, not even the blocked punt, But when the Patriots line up in punt coverage and they have nobody deep and the Cowboys are so perplexed, they take a delay a game. Then the next play, they do the exact same thing. They're still perplexed. They motion the guy in late. They end up erasing a really good punt because there's nobody deep, so of course it's going to be a good punt. 20-yard field position difference. You know what that drive ended up resulting in for the Patriots? A field goal, a critical field goal. One of the reasons the Cowboys were down 7 late instead of being down 4 late. The Cowboys could have lost yesterday's game, and you wouldn't blame Jason Garrett. There were ways for that to happen. But when you look at it, it's like, oh, exactly what the entire football world was saying leading up to the game. Cowboys got more talent. Cowboys need the game more. Patriots have been shaky, especially offensive the last few weeks. But the coaching discrepancy is so great, I think New England's going to win. And what we saw was the coaching discrepancy was so great, the Cowboys needed a furious comeback at the end to have a chance. And I know people are going to focus on the refs. The officiating was bad. Great, no problem. It's going to happen. You can't change that. You can change who the coach is. And if you know, I think Jerry Jones, when he gave that press conference, Bart, that was him in real time realizing, I'm moving on from my coach. Yeah. So the question is, why delay until the end of the year?
If I'm Jason Garrett, I'm going to make the case that maybe I should take over the offense so I can get more creative. I know we gave Kellen Moore a lot of credit, but the fact that he couldn't find a way to get his best player, Mark Cooper, the ball and only get him 2 targets could suggest that he can be the fall guy. And then listen, if it's going to be you or me, it's going to be you. And I'm going to make sure if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out on my shield and go out calling the plays and going down how I want to go down.
He's going to go out clapping. He's going to go out clapping.